Well, hello everybody. My name is Marcos Pontes. I'm an astronaut, NASA class 1998, and I went to space in 2006 on board of the Soyuz spacecraft, and I stayed 10 days at the International Space Station. Nowadays, I'm the Minister of Science, Technology, and Innovations here in Brazil, and for me, it's really a pleasure to talk with my friend Chris. And I'm sure we have so many things to talk about space and science, technology, innovations, and how can we improve the space programs nowadays? So, Chris, thank you very much for being with me today here to talk about this.
Well, thank you for kind of inviting me, and very nice to see you again. It was some years ago last when I actually visited Brazil for a little space tour there related to Saab. And yes, my background, I'm from Sweden. Like you're a Brazilian first astronaut and a Swedish first astronaut. Also flew first time in 2006. And we met together at the NASA offices in Houston. Very nice. Now I'm back in Sweden since 2013, working part as professor in space travel at KTH Royal Institute of Technology, and also an space advisor at Saab, and also love to kind of talk about space and pushing for innovation and technology and inspiration, which is also a very important factor which space comes with actually.
Yes, and I remember the time in 2006 when we visited the International Space Station. We still had some of the modules that they were not there yet. So we were in the middle of the construction of the International Space Station. And I believe now they have all the everything in place. But on the other side, now they are thinking about what to do with the International Space Station as the modules get older. So how do you think about this? What would be the best application of the International Space Station at this time in the future?
Yeah, we should utilize and use International Space Station as long as it's kind of technologically still going, and as long as it's kind of too expensive. But certainly, there must be some follow-up. I mean, there's so much we can learn from doing science in low Earth orbit. So we will need an we need the space station, maybe several space stations. I think it's a good possibility that in 10 years from now, there will be space station, which is to a large extent actually financed by more commercial companies like Axiom Space, which is now already planning for that, an American company. For definitely there will be a lot of use, and the more time we use being in space, the more we learn how we can use it, and the more the technology of new rockets is developing, the cheaper it becomes to go there. So we will have many more possibilities to use it.
The time I was there, one of the nights, I'd say, it's difficult to say night, you can explain this after, but because of the movement of the International Space Station in orbit, we have like 45 minutes during the daytime, 45 minutes nighttime, a huge speed, 17.5 thousand miles per hour. And I remember one of those, the time that we were sleeping, about 6 or 7 hours a day, but we were sleeping, and then we got the fire alarm. And I can tell you that was not the sound that I was expecting to have inside the International Space Station. Of course, we train a lot to do the procedures, to perform, but I was sleeping, and then I heard that sound, and I said, probably I'm just dreaming. This is not possible. Yes, this is real. I have to do something. So we got there, we did all the procedures, and we found out that there was a sensor in the US lab that went bad, and we had just a one wire that was hitting. So that was the only thing. But after a lot of high heart rate, amazing like this.
Well, I was lucky. At least we didn't have any fire alarms or something of these really bad alarms going on. But I think for me the most exciting, that was actually not inside but outside the space station. I was lucky enough to get the opportunity to do some spacewalk, or EVAs, extravehicular activity, as the NASA lingo goes, and I was quite excited when I was starting my definitely the first spacewalk, when they open the hatch and then you start to kind of move out into the darkness. It was nighttime, and all of you trained for it so many times. Now it was for real, and you were instrumented with the ECG and other stuff. So afterwards, the medical doctors told me, you had 150 in pulse when you started that spacewalk. So it was certainly quite exciting.
Yes, I did all the training for EVA, but I didn't have chance to do a real one at the time I was in space. And I know that many of the people that are watching us, they don't know much about the preparation for an EVA. Perhaps you could explain how we. I know about the procedures inside, about the pressure, how do we do, but most of the people, they don't know how hard it is to prepare. For an EVA. It's not like okay, I'm going outside and then I just get inside the suit and go outside like the movies. But say a little bit about the preparation for EVA and how do we do that?
Yeah, that's first of all, there's a lot of training on ground, which is for everything you're going to do in space. But EVA takes some of the more time actually. You learn a spacesuit, which is not a kind of some normal clothes you put on. It's rather a one-person spacecraft, which has all the facilities to keep a human in life outside in the vacuum in space for up to 8 hours. And then you train in huge pool, because there you can get some kind of weightlessness feeling of it at least. And you have models, full-size models on the station and a shuttle, and you move around. But then the day of is finally time to do this spacewalk. You prepare for it about 24 hours, and it's to get this spacesuit ready, to get all the tools you need, prepare the airlock. You have to get your body ready, because the spacesuit has much lower pressure than inside, about 1/3 of an atmosphere, whereas inside we have 1 atmosphere, like on the sea level on ground. And so you don't want to have the kind of sickness you can get if you are diving and going up to surface too quickly. You have to get rid of nitrogen in your body, and that there are various ways to do it, but all of them are complicated. So when you finally get out, you have in the outside the space station or the shuttle, depending where you did the EVA, you've already been preparing for almost a day, and then you're outside for typically 6 to 7 hours, and then you come back, and then you have to get kind of out of the spacesuit and get that kind of cleaned up and stuff as well. So it's a long work, but it's definitely worth it. And it's because it's difficult, it's also very funny. And doesn't help how much you train. You do your mistakes anyhow. I did a couple of very annoying mistakes during my time EVAs, and that's kind of annoying, but that's how it is.
Yes, and one thing that I always say to the young people here in Brazil, normally they ask me, first time you got to space and first time you look back to the planet, what was your first idea, your first thought at that moment? And I can tell you, the first thing that I remembered at that time was back there when I was a kid in my, my city there in Bauru, a small city that I was born. And I dreamed to be a pilot, but I didn't have money for the flight lessons. So I told my friends that I would like to be a pilot. They told me, this is impossible for you. This is just for rich people. You're never going to be there. I came from a very poor family. And I remember that day I was really sad. I told my mother, my mom, that what they told me. And she said, you can be whatever you want in your life if you study, if you work hard, if you persist, and if you always do more than expected from you. And she said that with so much of energy. I still remember her blue eyes telling me that. And those blue eyes were exactly the same color of the planet. So the moment I got in space, when I got, you remember when I got the main engine cut off, Miko, there, boom, I had the deceleration. I took off my gloves. They were floating there in front of me. So I looked to the small window there. I saw the blue planet. My mother, she couldn't see this because she died in 2002, and that was in 2006. But somehow she was with me. And that moment there, remembered exactly this, looking at that beautiful blue planet, same color of her eyes. I remember her telling me that, you can be whatever you want in your life if you study, work hard, persist, always do more than expected from you. And for you, you had the chance to be there outside of the spacecraft during the EVA. What was your first thought when you look? I know that you went out during the night, but then you get a couple minutes after that, you got to the day side of the orbit. So when you look down there, beautiful planet, you inside that suit, that spacecraft, but it's a suit. And what was your first thought that moment?
Well, it's just amazing to be on outside. Now, though, in the beginning, you're so focused on the work you have to do, and you concentrate on that, and you don't want to make a mistake. So it takes some time, but eventually, yes, when you get a little bit more used to it, then you maybe get a bit of break in the work, and then you can relax and you can look down. And it was very powerful feeling, I thought, and just in awe, being up there, we 360 kilometers altitude above the Earth, and always so high. We move so fast, as you mentioned already, right? I mean, it takes just 90 minutes to go one orbit around the Earth. So you definitely see them that you move over the Earth, but you don't feel an emotion because you're in this vacuum. And also, you maybe also thought that, I mean, it doesn't matter if you're inside or outside, but when you see the Earth, like, you don't see the borders. And we were an international space station. We were working people from many countries together, and we were solving problems together. And the same thing, you feel, well, we should do the same down there on Earth. We should work even more together, solve problems together. That's another powerful feeling, which I'm pretty sure you probably felt that also, or?
Yes, this is, for me, was really clear there. As we have people from different nationalities, different religions, different, I don't know, cultures, languages,
right,
working together to solve the same problem, to help everybody on our beautiful blue spacecraft. But and now, I believe now with the COVID, that was even more clear, the need that we have to work together, everybody together, to share information. Science is to be shared, so we can solve big problems that we are facing now, but we are going to face even bigger problems in the future, in the next pandemics, for example, or thinking about water, thinking about food, thinking about so many problems that we have, climate change, for example. So we have to work together. I'm seeing this nowadays here in this ministry. When we think about science, technology, and innovations, we are pretty much in every field, every sector, we have science, technology, and innovations going on. So if from one side, it's fun, working in this ministry. From the other side, it's very concerning because we have to make sure that everything works. And I see when you think about space, when we think about the future of the space exploration, we're talking about EVA, for example, the suits. EVA suit is like in a spacecraft. But if we think about going back to the moon or going to Mars, another place, we have to improve the suits. And this is a very interesting field of study or technology to be developed. How do you see this? Exploring the human exploration going back with the Artemis program, for example, NASA Artemis going to the moon, going to Mars, going to other places. How do you see the adaptation of the human body? This is the most fragile part of the system. How do you see this?
It's so exciting how we now are. I mean, we have a very clear program going back to the moon, as you said, Artemis, by the way, the sister of Apollo in the Greek mythology. And how we not only going back to the moon, we're actually building up an infrastructure in space. There will be a space station around the moon. We will develop things on the moon, a kind of a research base where people can live, first just visit and then live. And we learn what we need to know for going to Mars. And now it's not only national agencies anymore, it's private enterprises as well, like SpaceX and Elon Musk, his goal with his company is to send people to Mars. Definitely, it's not only a problem of building a big enough rocket which can bring people there. You have so much else you have to do to make sure you have a good life support system, both on a rocket when you go there and you come back so it doesn't break on the way, but also on the Mars. And one of the challenges and the really big things is when we can learn how to use resources on the moon to support people on the moon, to use resources on Mars to support people on Mars, so-called in situ resource utilization. And well, you were going in further how people can adapt. And yeah, if we have people in long time from now, which is working, living, and kind of actually staying on Mars for generations, I assume that there will be some change in this kind of bodies of people on Mars, since the gravity is just 1/3 compared to Earth. But before that, yeah, the first thing we are spacesuits, and then yeah, I know you are aware of this technological development in some places, among them as MIT in US, to try to develop a spacesuit which just fits exactly on your body. So it's kind of like just a tougher skin to some extent. And eventually I think we'll have that, which will make it so much easier to make EVAs or just go outside for a walk on Mars, for example. So do you want to go to Mars, by the way, if you got the chance? Let me ask you.
I would if I was invited somehow. I would. I don't know, how about you?
Yeah, I would, but as I used to say when people ask, but not the one-way ticket. I like the two-way ticket in that case.
Yeah, that would be good, but you know, we have to prepare the way. I think Mars will be a very interesting challenge, but also a very important one for some reason. I don't know. For now, I could say this just intuition, but I don't know. I have this impression that Mars will bring several several knowledge and also several different solutions for the problems that we have here by learning about the past of Mars and by learning about the possibilities of Mars, so past and future. So I think we must go. You know, this is inside the human nature. I believe that we have to go and go further. I believe that was the major driver that long time ago, you know, people from Europe, for example, came to the Americas, you know, to explore, to see what was there and so on. So it's in our nature. In science, for me, this is a very exciting part of science, that we can learn more about things that we still don't know. How to change things, how to challenge old knowledge. For example, imagine Newton and Einstein. They have to challenge the establishment. They have to, okay, I believe this is not the way that it works. They have to find a new ways. And again, now with the COVID, we have seen so much of development, especially in biotech. A lot of things, new things we've been learning. So this is amazing time, you know, for everything. and also in materials, artificial intelligence. By the way, artificial intelligence, there's one thing that we are working a lot here in Brazil, and I always have this question about the ethics in the artificial intelligence. I don't know if you have been thinking about this. What do you think about artificial intelligence in our lives in the future, and also lives here on this planet and also in space?
Yeah, it's a very interesting and difficult question. I mean, for sure, artificial intelligence through machine learning is developing fast, and it will help us tremendously over the years future. But it is this concern which some scientists have been raised that, yeah, possibly artificial intelligence could be so smart at some point that it kind of will overtake humans and make humans well, obsolete, basically. And it's very important that we make sure that we build into the system of artificial intelligence a security guard somehow that could never happen. And I don't know. I love to read science fiction. Well, I still love it, but I don't have so much time anymore. But I used to read a lot of them, and Isaac Asimov was one of my favorites, or is. And you know, he wrote these about the robots and the robot laws. When you kind of build robots that they have in their system that they cannot injure humans. But eventually, one robot, he somehow gets even smarter than that, and he realized to save humanity, he would need to actually inflict some injuries. So actually, some humans might die. So I mean, it's very sophisticated and difficult philosophical questions, but to some extent maybe also practical. But I think that right now we should work on it, and because it will help us. And by the way, another thing is that not everyone, I think, understands that when we develop science and technology in space, to some extent, so sure, it is for us to go further in space and learn how the universe works, and but it's mainly, it will help people on Earth, that we will get a better and richer and longer life on Earth with new technology, new solutions. And even, for example, Earth is between Venus and Mars, and Venus have an extreme climate in one way with a super greenhouse effect, and Mars has not so much left at the atmosphere. But more, for example, we can learn of these two planets, how their climate works. That will also help our understanding of our climate here. Just one example out of thousands.
Yes, and I think I don't know. I've been talking a lot about this here, of course, because of the all the developments that we have been promoting here in this field. And normally, you know, we, for example, at this moment in the Congress here in Brazil, they are voting a bill talking about the artificial intelligence. What should we do, and how are the limits of what can we do in terms of usage of the artificial intelligence? And one thing that is pretty clear, that the decisions, the final decisions, must be human. Artificial intelligence is like an accessory to help you with the data, help you with to analyze quickly the huge amount of data. And but even if you think this way, so it's not easy to get these limits, especially if we could think about the possible use of the artificial intelligence being integrated, I would say, with our major systems of life, like in justice or other aspects of life, with the medicine, for example, the decisions of the medical doctor can take. But one good thing about this is most of the decisions made by humans is like 80% emotion and 20% logic, which is interesting to think. We work with science, so it seems strange, but that's true. And you're a pilot like me, right?
No, no, my background is actually, I'm a physicist.
I see. One thing
so
that
the funny thing is, you're now the Minister of Science, and I'm working with an aircraft company sub.
Yeah, and one thing that I think about the aircraft in the future, especially fighters. I'm a fighter pilot, so more and more pilot is like the weakest link inside the aircraft. Well, we have limitations of G's, we have limitations of pressure variation, vibration, and everything. So I don't know. I don't like saying about this, but perhaps it seems to be that in the future, the pilot will be out of the loop, out of the aircraft, being on the ground, and the airplane will fly by remote or alone.
Well, I agree with you. And I think it will be the same in cars. I'm convinced that 20, 30 years from now, we will say, wow, it was crazy in those old days. People were driving the cars themselves and they were just crashing everyone here and there and people got killed, which will probably not happen anymore when the automatic driving systems really gets good. So, and then you might not even be allowed to drive. Hey, by the way, I have to mention, it was kind of fun that I just now jumped out of a meeting which we're having here at the KTH Royal Institute of Technology, where we have a postdoc from Brazil. He's here on a CISB project, working with the artificial intelligence implementation to put on satellites. It's kind of a co-project between Saab and KTH, and one of the bottlenecks was, as you know, I mean, for sending the data, we have all these fabulous satellites taking so much data and pictures of the Earth, but it's a bottleneck to get download all the data. So if you can have a smart system based on AI and machine learning on the satellite, which selects the interesting data and just downloads that, you kind of gained a lot. So that's the kind of the project he's working with.
Yeah, I believe also thinking about space, one thing that could give us like a benchmark for using artificial intelligence on the planet would be using them outside of the planet first. Like one of the restrictions that we have when we send a rover, for example, to Mars, and is there, doing the running there, doing some research, and of course it takes a long time when we talk about Mars, for example, a long time to get the signal going there, and the command and getting the telemetry back. So it's like a limitation. But if you have a system there which is smart enough to make decisions and to run, to first of all to save or to keep the spacecraft safe in a safe mode there, that will be amazing. Imagine this: artificial intelligence being used there in Mars. So they are collecting, looking around, seeing what is possible. Besides the target, the major target, they have all their targets there. Because nowadays, what I think is if you have, like, say, something happening nearby that is not programmed, the machine is not programmed to see, it's not going to see. And so this is, I believe, is a very interesting use of artificial intelligence outside the planet.
Yeah, I agree with you. And hey, by the way, let me ask you, that's even more visionary thing. You think that humans will ever be able to, go outside the solar system to other stars, or at least study them in a very detailed way? Have you kind of speculated about that?
Yeah, I did actually. When we were talking about the artificial intelligence and the automatic, the autonomous cars, I was thinking about a movie like the iRobot, a movie there that all the cars drive by themselves, and when you start taking control, are you sure you want to drive? And, so you got that small robot that gets a conscience by its own. So interesting, and this is also have been like the topic of interesting movies, like going far away from home, and how the humans are going to behave in that situation. Because if we think about this, it's not just the question of the physiological situation. So being exposed to, I don't know, 0G or radiation for a long time, but also the psychological effects of being away from, very away from home, being alone, or small group of people. So it's difficult, in my opinion. By now, with the technology that we have, is really difficult because of the time that takes to do that. But I don't know, perhaps in the future, our physics will allow us to perform and to go in a faster way to other places, like using wormholes or something to take us. That would be possible. No, but by now, or if we can, and this is one of the things that's very polemic that people are talking about, that we can have implants, or we can change our body to be able to hold the health in that situation. So it's my opinion, is still far away. I don't know, but technology, perhaps we have a jump there, a wormhole inside the technology.
Yeah, I don't really believe in wormholes and things like that, but I do think that technology could develop quite a lot. I mean, to have like huge space ships, or maybe space cities rather, in a torus, this classical thing which rotates. You have artificial gravity there. And actually, Jeff Bezos, Amazon owner, I mean, he that is his vision. And if you can build those, and you can have some super strong or efficient rocket drive, then you maybe be able to, over, I don't know, centuries, go to new stars. Although that would probably need then a couple of generations, or we have understood our biological systems much more, so we can expand our lifetime, so we live in a couple of 100 years. That's also some possibility. Yeah, actually, I've been so impressed though how quick the science was able to find and make vaccines against COVID. I mean, the COVID came there, and within a year we had vaccines. It never happened before. I mean, science is really developing.
And that's true. And that's why I believe actually the lifespan is going to be expanded very quickly with this. Here in Brazil, for example, we have been investing in 15 different types of vaccines here, made by Brazilian scientists. Who one of them is start now the tests, human beings, clinical tests. And I hope by the end of this year, beginning of next year, we can have this vaccine operational, and the other ones coming. And also I prepared a system. It's like an institution to do all the coordination of this. So in the next year, Brazil will be independent in terms of producing all the technology, all the ingredients here in Brazil, everything to be prepared here. And that was really quick. And I can tell you, I was really amazed with the quality and the possibilities that the scientists showed me. So I believe in short time, we will be able to expand lifespan, because we have so many different new technologies coming on, more knowledge about the biotech, by the cell level. So this is possible, I believe. And as you were talking about going away, one thing that came to my mind is at the beginning, remember, like say the Portuguese, when they came to Brazil, they came in small ships. It seemed like boats. It's really small. When I saw one, the real size, I said, wow, how could they do that? So they were really small. And they were able to come with so many losses, but they were able to come. They lost many people, but they were here. And then I believe this will be the beginning of the the deep space exploration. At the beginning, it would be difficult, all this. But nowadays, we have those big ships, you know, with everything inside is like a 5,000 people build huge transatlantic ships, and now that you have all this with a very many possibilities and a lot of comfort inside. I believe that will be the future, and you can have like a big spacecraft with a lot of people inside. That will reduce the problem with the psychological problems and so on. Now, science technology is amazing, and I love being part of this, and I believe, I'm sure you do. So unfortunately, they told me that our time is finishing here, but I like just to ask you to do some final considerations about what you think about, like, since we are talking about the future. So in an open question, what do you think about the future of science technology?
It's bright, and I wish I could prolong my own life a couple of 100 years so I could experience and live and see what's going to happen. There's so many exciting things, and I really believe in science and technology. For example, we do have a big kind of climate challenge right now, but I'm sure it is through new technologies and development of technologies started. That's how we will kind of solve the problem eventually. And I'm so excited how really we are in the beginning of really an expansive phase to move into space. Not that people will leave Earth, but there will be the new possibilities for some people. Like you draw the parallel with people moving from Portugal to Brazil early on. There's just a few who want to do it, but that will be the start for something completely new. And well, it's always hard to predict the future, but based on history, it always becomes better and better on the average. Of course, every day is not better than yesterday, but on the average. So I'm so optimistic that we will live for a long time, and our children will live better than we, and our grandchildren even better. So yeah, looking forward to me. By the way, this is maybe they cut it out, but are you going to Dubai for either World Expo Week or the IAC?
Yeah, I'll be there. I'll be there actually this month. Next week we're leaving to Dubai.
See you there.
Yeah, I'll be there for 2 weeks. We have the Space Week there, and we're doing the Space for Women event, and so many things in the space.
Well, that's great. So we'll see you live for real then. I will also be there for 2 weeks, starting the 17th of October.
Excellent. So probably we're going to see each other there in person. That would be great.
Perfect.
Actually, they're informing here that we have the two stands there, that the Brazilian place there and the Sweden places, they are side by side.
Oh, wow, perfect.
That was good. That was good. So let me just do a consideration about the question I just did about the future of science technology. One thing that I believe, and I agree with you, I believe science technology and innovation, but science technologies, they are going to be inside. Let's say the future is science and technology. And what I see is that probably we are going to go first to, this is the bad part of my answer here. Probably we are going to go to like dark years on this planet. And then that difficult time will bring us to solutions, to find solutions through science technology to get out of the situation. And that will advance a lot, so many different fields of science and technology. And from there, I believe we are going to make a huge change on the way we think about the the future of the humankind on this planet and outside of the planet. I believe we are going to expand the human lifespan a lot. Probably we're going to have several different implants. Artificial intelligence will be everywhere in everything that we use. Jobs are going to change a lot because they are going to be connected with science and technology somehow. Then the machines will make will do the difficult tasks, you know, in the unhealthy situations, and we are going to be more like a programming or developing new systems. I believe we are going to space, and we are going to first to have a difficult time again establishing the first establishments there, the facilities, and then we are going to learn. We learn by difficult time. So along the history of the human history, we always learn about from difficult times. So I believe that will help this way as well. We need to get better propulsion systems, better life support systems to be able to support us in a long duration flights. But I believe we are going to be more and more dependent on technology even inside us, and that'll be very interesting to watch. And I hope we have time to see the beginning, at least, of this new era. But for sure, our kids and grandkids, they are going to live in a different planet. And I hope also technology will show us the importance, as we said at the beginning, the importance of working together, the importance of peace, the importance of not having any discrimination, and working all together. As we see from the space, there's no borders. It's just one beautiful spacecraft, and I hope space will demonstrate that too. So thank you very much for this conversation. I hope we have time to have a conversation there too, you know, in person in Dubai. Beautiful place.
I hope so too. It was a very interesting and nice discussion with you. I enjoyed it very much. So,
thank you.
And good luck for the Innovation Week Swedish Brazil coming up soon. Cheers.
Thank you very much. Bye-bye.